Hey, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in today. It means a lot to me. I am continuing my series, Venus series. So we're looking at all of the signs in love. So far, I have covered Venus in Scorpio and Venus in Taurus. And now we're going to look at the crab, the crustacean, the intertidal creatures. Yes, we're looking at Cancer. So I really want to keep this one as short as possible and straight to the point. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. It helps me out. Hit the notification bell. I hope that YouTube does actually notify people when they subscribe. So, yes, first things first, this is just a general overall look at the sign, Cancer, in love. So if you are a Cancer in your natal chart, or your moon's in Cancer, your sun's in Cancer, maybe your rising's in Cancer, or maybe your Venus is in Cancer, this is all for you. But we are dealing with matters of the heart, matters of love, and so how to kind of seduce them, how to keep them around, and how to make a Cancer like you. Or maybe you're a Cancer. Maybe you just want to know more about yourself, or a bit about this aspect of yourself. That's kind of the gist of it. Obviously, charts are all complex, and of course they're all subject to their own variations, and that's fine. So I'd like to keep it as straightforward as possible looking at this video today. So Venus in Cancer in astrology, I mean, it's not a bad placement. It's a very deep love. This is a deep lover. I have been personally burned really, really badly by Cancers in my life. I've talked about this before. So we need to kind of cover some grounds here, because I'm going to look at the negative and the positive aspects of Cancer in love or in a relationship. And, it only comes from a place of truth, and it only comes from a place of love. This is not an easy sign to deal with. And of course, it's definitely not going to be an easy sign when it comes to matters of integration and taking someone in. The light side of this is that a Cancer or a Venus in Cancer is a healer. Okay, they're going to take you in. They want to heal you. They want to fix you. They want to love you. And they want to nurture you into a place of wholeness. And there is a wholesomeness to Cancers. Venus in Cancer is, they are attracted to people that are, I would say, I know it sounds hard to hear, and a lot of the things I might say in this podcast might sound hard to hear, but they are generally attracted to a partner that is weaker than them, or has less social capital than them, less social pull than them. They need to feel on some level that they have the upper hand in a relationship. That's generally, just getting straight to the crux of it, that's how this sign operates. A dark Cancer in the world is a very, very dangerous thing, just like a dark Scorpion or a dark Gemini that haven't really taken the time to integrate and kind of, work on themselves and just operate purely from a place of self. So this sign can be very selfish in matters of love, but a light-sided Cancer can be a beautiful thing. And before I go on with this video, I want to say that I could learn to love a Cancer in my life if they were the right one. because I've discovered about myself that I really do want to build a life with someone. I really do want to build a home with someone and have dogs and have a little orchard and have a partner that really has got my back and is tough and flexible in ways that can help me. Like, I need a partner that can bring symmetry to my depth, because my Venus is in Scorpio, and Scorpio and Cancer can work together. It wouldn't be an easy relationship, but they generally are on the same page with these water signs. So they do like to take people in under their wing. Obviously, Cancers do that in general. It makes them feel safe by being the one helping other people. It's kind of a little bit, in a fucked up, darker side, it's a little bit like the doctor and the patient, a little bit. I know that sounds hard, but that is a little bit how it is. At times, Venus in Cancer is very psychological. It's matters of the mind. It deals in matters of understanding someone psychologically. And there's nothing really wrong with that, because in order to love something and take it in as a part of you, you need to understand what it is. And that way you can do what it then you can do what it needs best for that being. So I hope that makes sense. So kind of so literally Cancer is kind of like coming out of the Leo energy, coming into the Leo. So it's sun and then it's moon, or it's moon and then it's sun. So it's a nurturing quality that really tries to bring you back into the sun. And so Venus Cancer people really, straight off the bat, their love is really precious to them. Their love is absolutely kind of like angelic in a way. And they don't want to pour energy and time and passion into something that really doesn't have a return. And so they try to be, I know they can come across in the courting stage as like an angel. They can love bomb you very, very heavily. And this sign likes attachments. So it is at times very hard to lose a Cancer in a relationship. Kind of like it is quite hard to lose a Scorpio in a relationship as well. Once they latch on, attachment is attachment. And therein lies a very big problem that the Cancer can have in their life with people, places, objects, things. You know, they can hoard a lot. They hoard memories. A lot of Cancers revisit emotional feelings in love. So they might go back and envision their exes a lot. You know, these guys, once they are wounded, once a Cancer or Venus in Cancer is wounded, it is life-changing to them. They take it to heart. They deeply are hurt and they feel abandoned. So in a relationship, if they've taken that time to start that connection with you and they've come out of their shell, which, by the way, it does take a lot for a Cancer to come out of their shell. If they've come out and they've really dug their claws into you and started to help you with something and build something with you, and then they feel like you want someone else and you don't want them anymore, they will go into an absolute meltdown. And it's really difficult for the Cancer to get off the ledge of that. Sometimes Cancers or Venus in Cancer, they never actually get over a breakup. And I have a Scorpio Venus. My Venus is in Scorpio, like I mentioned. So I still, being vulnerable and honest in these podcasts as an astrologer and, just as a compassionate human being, at sometimes I wake up in the night and I'm still deeply upset and shaken because that that lover or hurt me, or that breakup affected me terribly. Particularly when it comes to matters of being ghosted or abandoned, this sign could suicide very easily from that. And it's interesting that Cancers can't handle being abandoned, because they're all about taking the baby in off the street, like they're stray dogs. Like they want to help, they want to fix, they want to heal, they want to feed you, they want to love you. This sign loves love, like Pisces. But I will share first up another negative about the Venus in Cancer in love, is that they hate being ghosted, but they are the ones that ghost a lot of other people as well. And it's very much like they're very trepidous. So they come around you very slowly. They're not a direct sign, like a fire sign, which is just like jump straight into bed and then let's just find out, whether we're sexually compatible, let's go. Cancers do have a freaky side, don't get me wrong, but they like to take their time to build up to something that will create an emotional attachment. But if it's a Cancer sun and a Leo moon, or a Cancer sun and a Sagittarius moon, or a Gemini moon, then they will be more risk takers when it comes to love and dating. But if it's more of a earthy or water-based placement, then they're not really going to be wanting to fuck on the first date. They would prefer, being patient with them. And if it is something real there, then they kind of like to take their time and know that, patience is one of the virtues of this sign. They can be very patient in love. But the problem that I've had, and I went through, let me just have a sip of some water here. I need some water. I've went through one of the most horrific experiences of my life, where I met a Cancer person, started to court them. They told me that they were falling in love with me, and everything was going great, and I was flying high on that, that high, that, really amazing feeling. And then they disappeared. They ghosted me. The Cancer retreated. They went back into their shell. And that's why they ghost. They shut down emotionally, and it's very difficult to get information out of them about things. They're very secretive. This is a very private sign. So they kind of come around. You may not hear from them for a long time. It could be months or years. But Cancers carry around memories as fresh as they were just yesterday. So there is a relationship with time that is very prevalent with this sign. Time doesn't matter. Matters of the heart matter to this sign the most, Venus in Cancer. So then they come in, they love bomb you, and then they disappear. And you don't know what you've done. And it's very, very painful. It's very, very hurtful. And it's very damaging. And Cancers don't like having it done to them. They become very volatile. So this is a cardinal energy. So it can be very aggressive when they feel that you have used them. But I will say a darker-sided Cancer has no problem living in a state of duality, where they may have multiple lovers. They are players, okay? So please don't be deceived. Cancers can be players. It's not uncommon for Cancers to make a lot of babies. I know that I know that sounds crazy, but Cancers like to have babies. They like to have kids. They like dogs or pets if they don't have kids. It's just kind of a maternal or a paternal type thing. Like they're the ultimate daddy. Like if you've got daddy issues, this is the sign. Like an older Cancer male might have a very tough exterior, but these guys make great daddies. They like the dynamic of the daddy and son or daddy and daughter type thing. A kink of the Cancer is that they're into size differences. I've noticed. I'm talking a little bit more on the sexual side, more hardcore stuff, but like size fetishes, like really big guys with massive dicks, very big muscular men with very little twinky looking boys, or very twinky look like very small petite girls. I don't know. It's just a size thing that I've noticed. They are into psychological warfare. So when you fuck around with a Cancer, or if they're just cruel and sadistic, dealing with them is like dealing with a Scorpion. They're very, very tit for tat. So it's like a chessboard. Every move that you make with them, they're assessing your energy and your move and your position on the chessboard. So yeah, this sign is very susceptible to where their placements are, obviously, very much so. And the crab has claws. You know, it will rip you apart, much like the Scorpion. The Scorpion has pincers and a stinger. The Cancers, they're very much like, they'll rip you apart in the mind. They'll emotionally break you down. Female Cancers that have been scorned very badly will can be quite psychotic. They can start like smear campaigns against you and try and dismantle your foothold in your job. They can be very, very vicious. So they're prone to attacks. If you feel that you've, that if they feel that your love isn't like pure, then they can get very nasty and vengeful as well. But if you care about them and, you know, you've got someone who is a Cancer or your Venus is in Cancer, if you find them at their lowest point in life and you invest money and energy or time, or just, if you're just there to hold space for them, they will adore you and they will stand by you. Mike Tyson, I think, is a Cancer. So it goes without saying, like, these guys can pack a punch. Please don't think that they can't. They can. The problem is a lot of the communication with Cancer is very difficult because they are prone to really unexplainable mood swings in a relationship. So a lot of Cancers are naturally already born on the bipolar spectrum, or Geminis generally are born on the borderline personality disorder, on the, you know, and sometimes even on the Machiavellian scale, but the Cancers are just very moody. And the problem is the crab doesn't really have vocal cords, so a lot of their communication isn't really as direct as it needs to be. They can rip you apart with their words, and the problem is a lot of Cancers in relationships have problems with just being able to articulate what they're saying in a way that is clear. Because crabs walk sideways or backwards. Sometimes they're not like a Sagittarius, but they'll just like say it. They don't like conflict a lot, but they're not afraid to step up into conflict. Now, in a relationship, to get a Cancer on the hook, you have to be worth the risk. This sign loves not checking accounts, but they love saving accounts. They love money. They need lots of money in the bank. They gravitate towards people that they feel make them feel safe. So a Cancer in a relationship probably won't go for like a 10. They will probably go for more like a 7 or a 6, or even maybe down to a 4. because the risk of the partner that might be too good looking, they might consider that a threat. And if other people are contacting their partner or their boyfriend, or if their partner is very attractive to other people, that will make them feel really insecure and really uncomfortable. So they're not risk takers. A lot of them work in HR. A lot of them work in any type of like safety jobs, financial safety, or even they may even work in risk management. A lot of cancers work in risk management, anything to do with assessing a potential threat and disarming it. That's what they like to do. They will kiss ass in the workplace. A lot of them like to kind of get to the top. That way they can see everything that's going on and they can assess whether their job is safe. If they know how things work, then that's how they feel safe. A lot of cancers are lawyers as well. They're very good with articulating sentences, writing, grammar, English. A lot of Cancerians are psychologists, therapists, doctors, nurses, and teachers. A lot of them are teachers. The reason that the Cancer is usually attracted to law is because once they understand how law works, they can find loopholes and they can navigate a life that they feel will bring them the best return because they can understand how the system works. So in deception, when it comes to this sign, they can be very, very deceitful. And just putting it bluntly, a lot of the rules in a relationship with a Cancer don't apply to them. The rules that they enforce on their partner is generally not the rules that they will follow themselves. They are hypocrites sometimes. So it's kind of like okay for them to go and have sex with many people as they want, but their partner will not be allowed to do that. That's a dark-sided feature of the Cancer in love in a relationship. So they like the exclusivity in the relationship, but they don't like the feeling of monogamy. So a lot of them do like to flirt, and they, depending on where, this is all subject to where their placement is. I'm just summarizing, but they'll even have an affair with their partner, against their partner in their mind. Like they'll go over sexual exploits that they had with other people. So much like Gemini does that as well, they can cheat on their partner just by their mind. Like, they can, and then they will benchmark their current partner against their ex. Because like I said, Cancers never really get over exes. And if you are a Cancer and you're listening, having lots of sex with lots of different people, it really isn't, it's not good for you. And it's not something that is good for your heart, because you're built for more than that. And treating everyone reduction in a reductive way where everyone is an object, it actually ends up backfiring on the Cancer in the end. When they get older, they get regret for that level of treatment of other people. It comes back on them. So they begin to realize that that's not the way. And people have a soul, they have a heart, and they have a personality, and they have a brain. And when you just reduce people, it obviously, it's very harmful and hurtful and traumatic to the other person that they're using, but it also is, it's also damaging to the Cancer. It's not their nature to do that. Aries and Sagittarius will do it, but I feel like in the end with Cancer, things really come round full circle. And once they realize what they've done, particularly if they've ghosted, they do feel regret. and they do feel ashamed that they've treated someone in such a terrible way. Although they would hate it if someone did it to their kids or did it to them. But it's kind of a double standard that I've noticed with Cancer, and it's a really dark, it's a dark trait which has to be corrected. It's a dark-sided thing. So they like to mirror things around them as well. Like we know the ruling planet of Cancer is the moon. In a relationship, they mirror you. So what you order, they order. What the energy that you give them, they give you. They can feel everything. An intuitive, empathic Cancer will know something's not right with you intuitively. They will feel it in their bones. So you can't really, it's quite difficult to lie to a Cancer. They are very cautious and trepidous to begin with anyway. So they're very skeptical. They need constant reassurance in a relationship to be told that, you know, we are together, I love you, I value you. And they can be quite needy in that regard, but they also do require quite a bit of space for themselves so that they can process how they feel. When a Cancer comes around, much like a Taurus, they will check you out and really think about, like, is this a workable relationship? And they need time to think about how they feel. So don't pressure them. Don't put the hard word on them, because they just need to know whether it's love or not. You know, it's not, they don't jump into things really quick. This sign is slow and cautious and kind of like unravels like a flower, kind of like the petals come off layer by layer. They don't reveal everything about themselves. Like the moon, it's kind of hidden behind the clouds. And also, the big problem that people have with Cancers is obviously their mood swings. They have very unpredictable mood swings that can change like the weather. 1 minute it's sunny, the next minute it's cloudy, then it's windy, then there's a storm. And there's a complete storm inside of the Cancer, and it's raging and then it's peaceful. And it's really subject to environment, energy shifts. It really, like the moon fluctuates the tides. It goes up and down, up and down. So you have to be prepared to deal with the mood swings and be prepared to deal with just giving them their space to let them feel how they feel. Yeah, I actually have a lover. I had a lover in my life, the one that I was mentioning before. And when a Cancer fucks you with their heart, or they fuck you with a level of attachment, it's like they've made a bond with you forever. It's like it's always there. And that's a very powerful thing to be able to do. Scorpios can do it as well. You know, they have this intuitive way of looking into your soul. And if a Cancer feels safe enough to really let their guard down in sex with you, and you're looking into their eyes when they're like having the moment, you'll see who they really are. And in some cases that can be quite scary, because it's so powerful and so intense. But yeah, if you've been with a Cancer before and you know what I'm talking about, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Because it's really intense. A lot of the women, Cancerian women, just don't like to feel disposable. Like that, to dispose of them or make them feel like they're replaceable, that is not acceptable to them. And they will become vengeful and bitter as well. This is like a high priestess. Like, you've got to treat them like a flower. Like they can be quite delicate in a relationship. But once they've opened up to you and they've created that psychic link that they want, you know, this sign they like strings. That's what I said before. They do like strings. And even if you had a relationship with a Cancer, or you were able to, you know, be amicable to each other after a breakup, which is unusual, but it's not that unusual for a Cancer, because they tend to keep their exes around. I once knew a guy that kept his ex around, and they lived together, and the two of them were Cancers. By the way, the best match for a Cancer is another Cancer, I've noticed. It's just difficult, because if one of them tries to move on while they're still living together, it's like their ex is living with them. Other people would see that as weird, but to a Cancer, what is home is home. What is safety in that connection. So they might let you back in their life in the capacity of a friend, and you might chat from time to time and be friendly with them even after, you know, the breakup, because they just have this connection to you. Cancers are naturally stalkers, so I did mention this. I'm not going to go into it too much in my Darker Sided series on the sign, but they will watch you online. They will go to some really extreme levels to see what you're up to. They may download malware on your phone. They might plant recording devices in your bedroom. If they feel that their safety is under threat, they might ask you to take an STI test. You know, prenuptial agreements are probably come up a lot with this sign. What's theirs is theirs, and what you've acquired with them together will be separated equally. That's generally how they are. So they like money in the bank. Money makes them feel safe in a relationship. And when you start to fuck around with like opening or closing a relationship with a Cancer, it really causes a lot of damage to the relationship, like a kind of like cracked glass. It's really hard to repair that, because they are jealous. They don't like other people fucking their partners. They are very possessive. You know, in a relationship, if you've laid the claim down with them and said, we're together, and then you're on an app flirting with someone in front of them, that would crush them. That can be quite harmful, but they themselves are subject to doing that as well. Like, they wouldn't like their partner going and getting a massage, like a happy ending sensual massage, but they themselves will go and do that. Like I said, the darker side of this sign in love is not always a two-way street. You know, they are that way inclined, and a lot of Cancerians love beauty. They love beautiful men, even if they are a man and they're married. They a lot of them are closeted, or they liked the company of beauty. They like the Venus thing. Like, the house has to be really clean, tidy, organized. They're very good at hosting you. So if you can cook for them, even better. They love food, cooking for them. They love cooking for you. A lot of them are chefs. They work around food. And when they're mad, just leave them alone in a relationship. If they said that they need some space and they shut the door, then do not open the door. Just leave them alone, okay? How are we going for time in this video? I'm covering a lot here. I hope that you're enjoying the video. You have to kind of intuitively know what a Cancer or a Venus in Cancer wants without them telling you. That will make them feel like you've figured out who they are. So it's like if you've done something to upset them, they don't want to tell you. They want you to come to them and say, I'm sorry, without them having to tell you. Because this sign can be very icy. They can close up and be very, very cold, even colder than an Aquarius. You know, they can completely shut down when they feel like the price that they're paying is too high. So that's a really big thing. In the past, I've learnt that about them. If they feel that you've disrespected them or stomped on them, or if you've chosen someone else over them, they will watch you, stalk you, to really no end. Like, there's no limits here. They'll, download apps on your phone, like tracking apps, things like that. If they're skeptical, it's because in their heart, they really feel that if they've let you in, that they don't want turbulence, they want peace. And anything that brings any type of turbulence in the relationship, the Cancer will really pull away. If you're with a Cancer, be really gentle with them. Take your time with them. Lots of touching, lots of cuddling, lots of kissing. Just it's slow and steady, and listening to them. A lot of Cancers, a shy Cancer, a lot of the time will, their communication language is listening. So they will listen to you a lot. They're very good people to come to if you need to vent. They'll hold space for you as well. And that's a really good, really beautiful part about the sign. They are highly emotional and they can see it from the heart. One thing that they won't tolerate is you coming to them about someone who's hurt you in a relationship and them like nurturing you and trying to like encourage you and support you, and then you go back to that abusive relationship. The Cancer will wipe you for that. They'll see that as disrespectful. And they go through periods of phases where they really, really love you. They love bomb you, and then they suddenly go cold. So they're very, very hot and cold. Very hot and cold. And this is where a lot of the problems come with the Cancer. It's very difficult at times to know where you stand with them, because a lot of them will go quiet, grey walling you. It's a tricky one. Very, very hot and cold. That's why I've been burned so terribly by this sign before, because they go so hot with you and then all of a sudden they're cold and you're like, what did I do? Just tell me what I did and then we can work on it. Sometimes it's like you can hurt them, but you didn't even know that you did. Like, you had no idea, but that's just kind of how they are. And yeah, I know, I know a lot of you guys know this. If you can integrate with their family and if you can get in with their mum and dad, then you're in. If you can hold space for their childhood memories, things that they've told you, you've remembered, their date of birth or their holidays, anything to do with family, anything to do with tradition, they love that. So if you come into a Cancerian's life in love and they come from a different culture that's different to yours, if you can show them that you will assimilate into that culture, they'll love you. They like that. One of the darker sides, or a bit of a tip for a Cancer if you're listening, you're not responsible for other people's emotional well-being. Okay, you're not responsible for the healing of other people as well. So a lot of them take on a lot of people's problems that just aren't theirs to begin with. Or they, like I said, they will attract people that have fallen out of the bird's nest, like a little fucked up bird or something. They want to be the mother, the fixer, the nurturer, but the problem is when they get fixed or healed or they cure their addiction or become sober, the need for the cancer will change because it was based on the helping of it, not like the love of it, if that makes sense. I hope I explained that right. So they need to understand what's like emotional boundaries are very important with them, just like a Pisces. Without any level of boundary, they will get so immersed in other people's emotions and problems that they'll forget about their own. That can be a very bad thing for them as well. And there's a lot of really hard lessons in love that have to happen. But naturally they are caregivers, they are home builders, they have an aesthetic, you know, they like comfort things, blankets, pillows, just massages, candles, you know, get the oil burner going, incense. They can be quite potent when it comes to the occult because their energy, when they release an energy, like say in a spell work or something like that, it is very intense because it comes from a very deep emotional center within them. A lot of them are quite strong like that. So yeah, they just go through a lot of periods where they're highly envious as well. And that's really not good for them. It's a really interesting sign actually to be in love with. And I don't want to sound like I'm totally dishing the sign. I'm just being honest about how to date them, how to court them. And yeah, they do need to know that there is a future with you. They don't like it when you're fucking around with them. So if you don't show them by your actions that you're able to be there for them or support them, if you don't measure up to what you're saying in your actions, they'll disappear pretty quick. They retreat. They're very sensitive like that. They've got a very tender heart. So be vulnerable with them. So share the aches of your heart, share the hurts and the pains of your life. This will allow them to see the vulnerability that you bring to them, and then they will feel like you're opening up, and that will encourage them to open up as well. And it's about vulnerability. But once the crab has shut down, it's very difficult to get them back again. Much like Taurus, once the bull runs, they run. Like, yeah, it's a tricky one. Once they're out, they're out. That's just kind of how they are. So make traditions with them, build familiarity by being consistent with them. So if you said you're going to show up on time, you show up on time. These guys measure everything. The exchange that you give them, they give you. Like that's really what they need. And they want monogamy. This is a monogamous sign. Open relationships for Cancers will make the Cancer end up in a therapist's office. It will fuck them up so hard. It is just not in their nature. So although they can be players, it really backfires on them. Sagittarius and Gemini are very hard to be monogamous with, but Cancer is a cardinal energy that is very fixed in its structure of what it wants and what it expects. And if that is meddled with, it can do a lot of psychological damage to the Cancer. And it's a real problem because they'll bring that into the next relationship. They'll bring the pain of their last relationship into the next relationship. And that's a bad place for them to start a new connection with someone else when they're constantly talking about their ex or thinking about their ex or Googling their ex. I had a girlfriend that she was a Cancer and she had gone through a really, really messy breakup. And it had only been about 4 or 5 months since that breakup happened. And she told me that she would constantly go on Facebook and see what her ex is up to because she just couldn't leave him alone. You know, that attachment is so primal. It's so deep. And I remember one day she came to me and she was just a mess, just crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she said, he's engaged. And the status had showed on his Facebook that he was now engaged. And it was only a few months after their breakup. And she was completely suicidal. Like, it had just absolutely gutted her. Terribly, terribly gutted her. And it was just heartbreaking to watch her go through that. Yeah, and it took a really long time for her to really to move into her future. So be really aware of that. They like to build dreams with people as well. So if they say that they've got a dream, support the Cancer's dream in a relationship. If they say they want, you've got to be on the same page as them. So you've got to want the same thing, like a house, or you've got to want what they want. That's one of the things that they determine with you very quickly. If you're like I said, if you're really, really attractive, the Cancer can be very intimidated by that because that will not make them feel safe in the relationship, because they know there'll be a lot of people. They're not stupid. Like, they know this is a very smart sign. This is a intellectual sign as well. But yeah, they need intellectual stimulation, that's for sure. But also they will know that other people will express and approach you, and that could be a threat to their relationship. Like, anything that could threaten them, they don't like it. Coming in and holding a Cancerian accountable for what they did to you, they may brush it off and try and like gaslight you and say, oh, you did it, I didn't do it, it's all your fault. But deep down, they know they fucked up. And if you can find a Cancer that can say, hey, look, I was wrong, I'm sorry, can you forgive me? Then life is short. You know, why not? I would say, you know, I've just forgiven someone that did something to me, but it's a journey. But now I'm like, it's a massive weight lifted off my shoulders and my heart, because I'm not carrying around that bitterness and anger anymore. I don't need to hold on to that anymore. So if a Scorpio or a Cancer can learn to do that, then that's a very powerful person. So yeah, a lot of them have sweethearts. A lot of the light-sided Cancers, they're sweet, they're thoughtful, they want to know about you and your birthday, and they'll remember you. You'll get a card from them. You'll get like things from them that they'll give you, and it's sentimental. Like, everything is sentimental. It's very thoughtful. They put in the effort. So I like that about them, actually. Like, if you were interested in a PlayStation game, or if you were into karaoke, or if you liked a certain dish, they'll cook that for you, or they'll take you to the karaoke bar, or they'll just go and buy that PlayStation game for you. Like, because they're listening to you. They're very attentive like that in a relationship. A dark-sided Cancer can also be quite smothering. So sometimes they don't realize that they are a little bit too overbearing, because they so want to be with you, and pushing them away or saying you need space could hurt them as well. So yeah. So I hope this is all making sense. Yeah, I think I've covered quite a lot in this video, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. This is Venus in Cancer, or Cancer in love. And please leave me a comment below if you found this insightful and helpful. And yeah, let me know what you think, anything I missed. I don't want to dwell on the negatives of all the signs. I just want to focus on like the love and the compassion and the energies and, you know, the stuff that, you know, not all signs are evil. All signs have good and bad traits. You know, everyone's different. And of course, everyone's placements are different. So always bear in mind that these are, I can only look at one thing at one time because the combinations of in the charts are like endless. So I can't, no one could do a YouTube channel and cover every single angle of every single planetary alignment in a chart. So yeah, this is a summarizing of this sign, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. It's been really cool. But yeah, I will see you. Sorry, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, I'll leave it here. Yeah, please send this to anyone that you think would benefit from it. If you know a Cancer that would love to hear about this, about themselves, or, you know, maybe you're dating a Cancer, I don't know, let me know. I'd love to know. I love to read the comments, and I like to see what people have to say. It's really interesting. And yeah, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye, bye, bye.